face and a track record because I looked into a little bit of who she is, her professional background, and she's a senior reporter at NBC News, now over at MSNBC or MS Now, and she's been there since 2018, as I know. This is all what I could research. This is Brandy Zadrozny. Here, let me share her page so you know what I'm looking at, or who I'm talking about. So Brandy Zadrozny, all right. Now she's been making here. Let me move this so I can. Her career, you can see she was at the Daily Beast in 2013, and then she's been at NBC News and written on depressing aspects of the internet, focusing on political extremism and conspiracy theories like QAnon, Stop the Steal movement, anti-vax, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. But what Baron is showing us and what she's showing us is not new for her. Okay, it's not new for her. She has a pattern. Critics from the right, subjects of her stories, and even some court filings have accused her of the same exact playbook for years. Selective framing, leaning hard into one narrative and like trying to pick apart something that, or make a story out of something that is like mixing the truth, right? Treating skepticism of official stories as more like a dangerous radicalization. That's what she's doing. She's making it sound like we're dangerous radicalists around Charlie Kirk. In 2020, Tucker Carlson devoted a segment to her, accusing her of digging up personal details of anonymous Trump supporters online, specifically to ruin their lives. NBC basically said that it was a smear. They stood by her. And then later in a lawsuit over one of her vaccine-related pieces, the plaintiff and an expert witness flat out said she is not a neutral or unbiased reporter. That was in court, and described her as an activist for vaccines who crafts articles to fit her own point of view, her own POV. There's this Real Clear Politics company and others have pointed out multiple times that her experts dismissed stories that then later held up. And one of her own pieces was criticized for claiming Boston Children's Hospital wasn't doing certain gender surgeries on minors when the hospital itself had said otherwise. I don't know. Some drama about that. Getting involved in gender reaffirming surgery for children. I mean, what are you doing, lady? She's also repeatedly framed serious investigations, including ones involving alleged ritual abuse, as just another round of satanic panic fueled by QAnon, which her critics say is a way to dismiss uncomfortable claims without fully engaging them. And going further back, even her Daily Beast work got pushed back for the same one-sided, biased style. Journalism should try, at least, obviously it's not practiced as much these days, but it should try to be as neutral as possible. I do. I get a lot of people always saying, I like how you're neutral. I like how you like to see both sides, because I want to get to the truth. I don't have an opinion. My opinion, except for what we're being told and what my eyes are seeing, are not matching. That's it. And I have the right to have that. But I report as such. If I'm wrong, I report I'm wrong. If I'm whatever, But the common thread people keep pointing at, and that I'm seeing with her, is that when the story involves conservatives, alternative media, or anyone questioning the approved narrative, the Fedslop narrative, the framing tends to land the same way. These people are dangerous. Their questions are disinformation. They're chaos agents. They're making money off of each other. It was all set up and planned this way. This is a dangerous precedent to start creating, or trying to attempt to create, because you're creating hatred and dissidence around people that are loved and people that do good work and that are investigating really hard. Honest, good people, Americans, actually. of all things, Americans. Who would have thought? So when you say that these people are dangerous and that we're spreading disinformation, or that we're that the real story is how radical we're becoming, that's the rhetoric that people see when you put out this type of content, Brandy. Now, I'm not saying every single thing that she's ever written is false. I'm sure that there's plenty of truth, but I am saying that the pattern of how she approaches these subjects is exactly what a lot of people in this space have been warning about for years. And there's also a thing called a Hasbara budget. Don't forget, $1 billion can get you a lot of content. I'm not saying is involved in that. All I'm just saying is you don't know where it's coming from. All right. You don't know. And what's interesting is she mentions in Baron's text, okay, she mentions in the text, you saw it. I don't know if I can find it again. Yeah, here it is. She says it right here. Look at this. Let me show you. It says, this is a media story to me, though, not an attempt to debunk. I'm interested in you and others like you, like I was in Candace of 2018. So Candace of 2018, what happened then and why was she so hard up about 2018 and Candace? Well, what's interesting about that is that Candace Owens was rising rapidly in 2018. She was a TPUSA communications director, Kanye West endorsement, Trump praise, viral videos as a result, and she received coverage from other outlets, but Zadrozny was just digging into her, I think she has been looking into Candace Owens for quite some time. And something about Turning Point USA is where she started looking into this. Why does she get interested in Candace Owens when TPUSA became big in 2018? You can look at the chart. They doubled their net revenue and but they also like tripled or quadrupled their staff in 2018. That's when, I think it was 15, 16, 17. It was just Charlie Kirk, Tyler Bowyer, Bill Montgomery, and maybe one other person. But then 2018, not Tyler Bowyer, sorry. Was it? Tyler Bowyer came on, I think, in 2018. And yeah, so it was Bill Montgomery, Charlie Kirk, and one other person in 2015, 16, and 17. I believe that's right. Bowyer, along with a whole slew of executives, C-suite people. When I see C-suite, like CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, those all came along with Tyler Bowyer, and over time it expanded. And that is when she starts picking up Candace Owens. I just find it interesting. Zadrozny has stated publicly that Candace even had to block her in 2019 after Candace's widely discussed comments about Hitler. Everyone likes to talk about that. Everyone's a Nazi and a Hitler. All right, except for being a globalist. So because she said that, there was a whole bunch of drama. And so Zadrozny's criticism towards Candace Owens has come much more recently.